Hello, CQ, CQ, CQ. Calling CQ the old friends net. This is WA4LLR Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the old friends net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m., Thursday mornings at 9 a.m., and Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. on this frequency. And this net is carried out in the amplitude modulation mode and in the round table format. Any station that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. This net is a great place to look for information, parts, pieces, maybe trade a rig every now and then, and it caters mainly to vintage equipment, but anyone that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. So CQ the old friends net. I'll take a list and see if we can get things in order and proceed from there. So, stations wishing to take part in today's net, give me a call and come now.
N4LQ.
KZ4B.
KN4R.
WB4ARK.
WS2U.
WB4NKL.
M4IYQ.
Kilo N4AK.
WA4EVK.
K4GDN.
4 Whiskey Delta.
W4KR.
K4JAL. K4VWD.
WA4FJQ.
W4MEEC.
All right, let me tell you who I have. There was a double between Boone and Bruce, so between EVK and WD. So we'll find out who goes in that spot. But here's what we have. N4LQ, KZ4B, KN4R, WB4ARK, WF2U, WB4NKL, N4IYQ, N4AK, WA4EVK, and the question mark, N4WD, W4KR, K4JAL, K4VWD, WA4FJQ, and W4MEC. Now, was that George between Boone and Bruce, or who was that? Over.
It was George.
All righty, we've got George in there. Okay, so K4GDN. Now, let me take a standby. Do we have anybody else?
Yeah, K1VVC. I was in Glen somewhere in there.
Okay, I've got K1VVC. Boy, for some reason you were really light up here today, John. I don't know what the deal is. And I heard a couple other carriers. So we added K1VVC. Who else do we have? There was a faint one that somebody covered up with a carrier. Who was the other one? K4YRK. All right. K4YRK. All right, who else?
Dave, did you get N4AK?
I did, yep. N4AK is between IYQ and EVK.
Gotcha.
All right, anybody else? All right, real quickly down the list. LQ, 4B, 4R, ARK, 2U, NKL, IYQ, AK, EVK, GDN, WD, KR, JAL. Have I got VWD in here twice? No. VWD, FJQ, MEC, VVC, YRK. Did I miss anybody?
Yep, K3OS.
All right, we got Gary, K3OS. Anyone else? All righty. Gary, I guess you were tail end Charlie for the moment, right after K4YRK. So, good afternoon to everybody. We've got about 44 degrees. Little mist of rain up here. They're saying we could get rain mixed with snow later on tonight. Boy, am I looking forward to that. Anyway, so far everybody sounds good, except John is light and YRK is light on me. But other than that, good signals. So let's go ahead and get started. Big group this afternoon. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right, it's N4LQ. Good evening to everybody. I'll try to be real quick since we've got 20 check-ins. And I'm running the AF-67 Elmac and the AL-1200 amp here with the loop antenna. And today's technical trivia is two types of condenser microphones, and I'll keep this under a minute, I think. There are two types of condenser microphones, regular condenser microphones and electret, E-L-E-C-T-R-E-T condenser microphones. The vast majority of these are electrets, like 95%. The regular condenser microphone requires phantom power, 48 volts, and that power is used to charge one or the other plate of the condenser microphone, either the back plate or the diaphragm. And the modulation, when it's moved, changes the characteristics of the mic so as to produce a weak voltage, which is in turn amplified. The electret mic, the electret condenser type mic, is pre-charged at the factory with a voltage on either the back plate or the diaphragm or the front plate, but one or the other is charged, and that charge will last for decades, and there is no outside power required to activate this microphone. However, it does require an amplifier right at the microphone. That is usually an FET transistor, and that requires power to supply the amplification for that weak signal, and also for the push-to-talk facility, whatever that may be. So both mics are condenser mics. 95% are electret. The big ones that you see hanging on the stand or whatever, those are all usually condenser mics requiring phantom power, but the hand mics, the little mics for desk mics, usually less than a 1-inch diaphragm, are all electret microphones. So that's today's technical trivia, KZ4B, N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Fine business, Steve. Very interesting, to say the least. We're running the usual Ten-Tech Eagle, driving the Titan 1, in turn driving the 5/8 wavelength long wire. So that's the setup here. And the only thing I've gotten into, which is taken as usual, like all projects, an inordinate amount of time, I recapped the T150. It had a voltage doubler power supply and seemed to me to be a little bit more hum, or have more hum than it should have. So I went from 450 volt, 40 microfarad capacitors that probably weren't doing near that, to these two in one stage of the doubler and two in the other stage of the doubler. to 100 microfarad, 600 volt electrolytic capacitors. And it took quite a bit of time to get it done, but it looks good and it works nicely. So hopefully there's nothing else to be done to the T150 other than get it on the air. So, Brian, brace yourself. It's coming your way. KN4R in the group, KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, very good. KZ4B and the Sunday Old Friends. This is Brian, KN4R, on the GRC9, my favorite GRC9 actually, and running through a little a solid-state amplifier here. And the big difference here, I'm using an H94 telephone handset on this today, and I've also got a speaker hooked up so I can listen to it on the handset, or I can listen to it, on top of the radio with the speaker. So everybody's sounding really good, and Steve, very interesting on the two types of condenser mics, and I've got some powered ones that I need to try out sometime. Maybe we'll try out one tonight. So over to you, buddy. WB4ARK in the group, KN4R.
KN4R, WB4ARK. Okay, Brian. Very good signal today. As does everyone. There's not any problems with anybody's signal. And we're running the same KWS-1 R390 receiver, horizontal dipole up about 60 feet. And that's what we got today. So don't have any spiel to go over technically right now. So I was tuning up the transmitter, and I got a little behind on the time, and if I stepped on anybody's toes while Dave was giving his introduction to the net, I'm sorry. We'll do better next time. So with that, we'll send it over to WF2U, WB4ARK.
Roger. WB4ARK and the group. This is WF2U. Very good copy on everybody. Nice signals. Low noise today. Very low ambient noise. And I'm running the Elmac AF-67 and receiving on the Elmac PMR7 receiver. The antenna is an 80-meter end-fed half-wave, and the microphone is. Finally, I changed the microphone on this from the Mobile Shure. This is a Turner desk mic. That I actually, the same mic that I'm using with the Yaesu setup. So I hope it sounds somewhat better than the mobile mic. It's 45 degrees here, and for a while it was about 33 this morning at 6:30. So it's chilly. It still feels, it's cloudy, and it feels as if it was like 10 degrees lower. It would feel like we can expect snow, but it's 45 degrees, and no precipitation is expected. So with that, it goes to Cliff, WB4NKL. This is WF2U.
WF2U. It's WB4NKL. Okay, Mary, I believe your audio's better on the 67 with that microphone. Sounds great, and I was going to comment on Brian's GRC9 audio. It's best I've heard on one of your military rigs, Brian. I think you got a good combination there. It's 52 degrees here, a little warmer on this side of the mountain, and Rain is supposed to be starting in about an hour, it says here on the forecast. But it's 37 is a low tonight, so hopefully won't be no snow on us over here, Dave. I'm running the DX100 D104 microphone, and everybody's good conditions. Everybody's sounding great here. So I'll send it on up to the neighbor. Go ahead, Chuck. N4 IYQ. It's WB4NKL.
Okay, WB4NKL and all the old friends N4IYQ. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody had a good holiday. We didn't make the Thursday net, and did get to spend some time with friends and family the last couple of days. It's been nice, and not a whole lot going on around here. We're on the multi-Elmac AF-68A, driving the SB221, and receiving on the PMR8 on a double bazooka, cut for about 38.85, as I recall. Certainly hearing everybody just fine today. Good audio all the way around. On down to you, Glenn. N4AK, N4IYQ.
Okay, check. N4IYQ, Chuck there, nice signal. We're at Gainesville, Georgia, Lake Lanier, operating Portable 4 this weekend. Copying most everybody okay. Say a special hello to Dave up in Knoxville. Dave, it's been a while since I've heard from you. We're running KZoo991 Alpha, SB200 amp, got 100 watts of AM power today at a G5RV. So temperature down here on the lake is 47 degrees. It's a dreary, cloudy day here in Gainesville. So copying most everybody, there is some slow QSB. So boom to you up in Pickens, WA4EVK, November 4 Alpha Kilo, Portable 4.
November 4 Alpha Kilo, WA4EVK. Well, neighbor, I hope you're having fun down at the lake. It's a little gloomy here. I think we're going to get some rain any time. I'm running the Elmac AF-68 into a Swan amplifier. We're running about 300 watts carrier at this time, receiving on a SDR. I guess a lot of old equipment and a brand new piece, so that about describes it here. Enjoying the net. I'm going to get off. I'm going to turn it over to George since we got so many. K4GDN to take it, WA4EVK.
WA4EVK in the group. This is K4GDN. And I'm copying everybody fairly well. And Glenn, I got you there as a portable. We're on the Valiant, running about 100 watts. And receiving on our HQ170. And got a couple of projects going on. The B&W 5100, I may get it on some next week. I was talking with Stan some last week, and he had one, and he commented it's really a strange tuning rig. You don't get the same response you normally do when you're changing loading and looking for a dip with some 6146s. Also, I got the Collins 30L1. I've had it powered up to about 100 watts. The problem right now is it's got an N connector for the output. The only connector I had was an N to B and C, so I didn't want to put much power into a B and C. I'll have to get me an N to UHF before I can get it on the air. And it's in the upper 40s here in Myrtle Beach. It's been raining some, and it's not bad. I'll take it. Beats the summer anyway. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bruce. N4WD, K4GDN.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, I could not hear George. I could see a little carrier there, and it was it. N4WD. Sorry, George. Boom. You can mail me the speaker anytime you want. It jumped off the top of the chip here. You're loud. So your Elmac's doing good with the power there. 50 degrees here, light drizzle. guess it's a normal fall day, so to speak. No snow in the forecast, even though I think it's supposed to get down to 23 in the middle of the week and then creep back up again by the weekend. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, goes to KR. KR, this is N4WD. Go ahead.
Okay, Bruce. N4WD, this W4KR. Walhalla. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 54 up here. Gloomy overcast is pretty much as Boone described. Yeah, 20 on the list today. Wow, good number. And Steve, thanks for the rundown on the electrets. Pretty much everything, all of the ICOM mics seem to be electrets these days. Two items. One, I need a 50 puff 2500 volt mica, 2500 working volt mica, 50 puff, and I have a literally brand new PMR8 manual. If anybody needs one, let me know. Give me email me at w4kr at wctel.net, w4kr at wctel.net, and we'll can get it heading your way. And with that, I'm going to looking over my notes. Yep. Anything else we'll save for next time. K4JAL. Jimmy, how you doing? W4KR.
W4KR, K4JAL. Well, I'm fine, Stan. Sounds like you are too. Brian, your audio is a whole lot better today than it was when we tried it last night. I assume it's the same rig. I've got 8 degrees Celsius here. Every time I key this radio, it flips me over to Celsius, so I'm going to have to learn how to use that, I guess. I'm running a solid-state rig today through a end-fed antenna running north to south, so I hope I'm getting out. About 100 watts. Over to you, Lee. K4VWD, K4JAL.
K4JAL, K4VWD. Okay, Jimmy, thank you. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Boy, we got a bunch of people in here tonight. That's wonderful. And everybody's sounding good. The temperature here is 46 degrees, heavy overcast. I'm running the AF-68 and the Bandit amplifier, about 160 watts. And receiving on the PMR8 receiver, and my dipole being fed by ladder line through a 10-tech tuner. And with that, I'm gonna keep it going. So Tom, WA4FJQ, K4VWD.
K4VWD, WA4FJQ. Okay, thanks, Lee. Tom here in High Point. The rig is multi-Elmac AF-68, feeding a Collins 30L1, receiving on a Collins 75 S3C into an in-fed half wave. I'm copying everybody pretty well. I wasn't able to copy Bruce in 4WD, just too far down in the noise, but everybody else is perfect. And Brian, your signal over here in High Point is the best I've heard. I think somebody else made the same comment. You were easily 10 over. So whatever you got going there, it's working very well. It's overcast here, about upper 40s. We got 2 inches of rain 3 or 4 days back. Thank God for that. We needed it. And that's, I guess that's about all I've got to say for this round. So I'll turn it to Charlie. And if you got any comments, Charlie, about that scope, if you've found that thing, we'll turn it over to you. W4MEC, this is WA4FJQ.
WA4FJQ and the group, W4MEC. Good afternoon, everybody, and everybody's booming in here. No problem copying anybody yet. So Dave over there is a little light. YRK Dave is a little light, but still Q5. Scope, I have not had any luck. I've totally searched everywhere here, and I did get into the bin, the bay there, and did a cursory look because I would have thought it would have been on the top of the pile, and it wasn't. So now I'm starting to think that I took it to the lunch and somebody picked it up there. If someone in the group here remembers getting a Yaesu monitor scope from me, let me know, because I'm looking for it for Tom there, because I thought I still had it. But if no one here picked it up, then it's deeper in my storage bay. So looking for that. So it's about 47 degrees here. And like everybody else, dismally overcast, not a very nice day out there. No rain here yet, no sprinkles, no nothing. So, but I understand it's coming. Let's see, John, K1VVC in the group, W4MEC.
Very good, W4MEC in the group, K1VVC. And nice to hear everybody on today. I'll tell you, the 4 o'clock time seems to be working out real well. I had a great holiday. My son and daughter-in-law from Tennessee came to visit for the week, and it worked out well. I'm using a Gonsa G76. Haven't had it on the air for a while, but I think it's working okay. I know, Dave, you said you were hearing me real strong, but I'm only running about 50 watts. So with that, let me turn it over to K4YRK, K1VVC.
K4YRK, K3OS. Trouble to copy you a little bit on that one, but copying just about everybody else okay. Good afternoon to everybody from Hickory here. And I'm sorry, I tried to check in a few times. I was the dead carrier, Dave. Turns out I didn't have the mic preamp turned on the D104. That would clearly help. Anyway, had a great Thanksgiving and went over to some nephew and had family in town, and all is good here. Just looking out the window here, it's overcast, as I think everybody else is around the state. Working on a power supply. I know a bunch of you guys have been in the same situation. I was kind of given a radio, an old a Ten-Tech Triton 4 digital. Guy didn't want to fool with it. And a power supply. The power supply was in pieces, and he said something had been living in the power supply. So I started to troubleshoot the thing, and I thought I had I found one problem. Somebody had replaced the pass transistor, did not replace the insulating shoulder washer, and the collector was grounded. And the two shoulder washers were stacked up on top of each other and kind of compressed, and what a mess. So I fixed that and started to bring the power supply up, and actually, yesterday I realized that there was no regulation on it, so I've got to work on that part of the circuit. But I'm afraid to open up the radio to see what we're going to have. Back to you, Dave. WA4LLR, K3OS.
Okay, fine business. Let me stand by. Do we have any others that would like to check in? Come now.
KJ4YEV.
All right, Al, we've got you, KJ4YEV. Any more? All right. turn it to KJ4YEV next time. Al, go ahead and give us a transmission and turn it back to me. KJ4YEV, WA4LLR.
I tried about a half a dozen times to check in during the roll call there, and I wasn't being heard, and then I figured out I had it on the wrong crystal, so I guess it does help to be on the right frequency there. Hoping everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. Ate a big meal and went right to sleep. And I wanted to mention, too, that I heard Bob Howell on the air last night. He was on 3885. I wasn't able to talk to him. I didn't have my transmitter on and tuned up, but he sounded pretty good. He's out of rehab and back home now. So that's good news. So with that, I'll pass it back to you, Dave. WA4LLR, KJ4YEV.
Well, one more quick standby. Any others that would like to come aboard, come now. Okay, nothing heard. All righty, great round. Heard everybody that time. Dave, YRK, you're a little light here, but copied about 95% of everything. Well, Al, I've done the wrong crystal thing myself, so don't feel bad. And Gary, a dead mic just doesn't work really well. My problem is sometimes I pick the wrong one up and can't understand why nobody's hearing me. Anyhow, but you're sounding good now. John, the Gonzit G76 at 50 watts is sounding good up here now. The band, I guess, moved around or something a little bit, and you're doing just fine. Charlie, I hope you find the missing monitor scope. The 6 Elmacs sound real good. And Lee, glad you had a good Thanksgiving. Jimmy, the solid state's doing fine for you. Stan, fine business on a brand new PMR 8 manual. I'm sure somebody needs that. Bruce, good to hear you. You're sounding good. And George, I'm copying the Valiant fine. Glenn, glad you're still having fun down at Lake Lanier. Boone, you're booming in. Chuck, your Elmac sounds good. And Cliff, of course, the DX100 is doing a great job for you. And Mir, the Turner mic is much better than what you had previously. Buddy, the KWS-1 sounds good. And Brian, you are blasting in up here with that GRC-9, and that mic is much better than what was before. John, fine business on reworking the T150. Glad you about got that done. And Steve, thank you so much for the course on the different condenser mics. Quite interesting and informative. Anyhow, let's see here. The solar weather, sunspot count's 179, solar flux index is 176, and the K is 0.67. We had some minor geomagnetic storming yesterday, but things have quietened down, and the upper band should be doing pretty good. We've got 21 in here today, so I'm going to give a very abbreviated this day in history. On this day in 1942, we had the premiere of Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Andrew Bergman. On this day in 1922, my favorite cartoonist was born, Charles Schultz, loved peanuts. On this day in 1939, Tina Turner was born. She's been at it for a while, for sure. And let's see what else. On this day in 1894, Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, married Alexandria, and I'm just going to quit there. So, let's head back around. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Thanks, Dave. N4LQ in Shelby, where it's blazing 46 degrees and very dark and overcast, but took a walk today, and after I warmed up, it felt really, really good. First of all, tonight and every night, 160 meter net at 8 p.m. on 1864 lower slop bucket. Everybody is invited to attend, and it's a net that is very similar to this operation, except it's on sideband. We did experience over the past week or two a couple of people having trouble with FMing or wobbling Elmacs. The frequency of their VFOs would vary as they spoke, and I could see it on the spectrum on the SDR, and I could hear it because synchronous AM was not able to lock in on it. and it kind of produced itself as a mild distortion in AM, but not too obvious. So anyway, apparently it turned out to be either a dirty tube socket or a bad VFO tube or a wrong VFO. I think somebody had a wrong VFO tube in there. It had a 6AU6 in it instead of a 6AK6 that somebody in the past had put in there. But if that happens, you'll know what it is. Boone, you're extremely loud, and I just can't get over what that Elmac sounds like. It's so nice to be able to hear you in living AM. KZ4B, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo. Very fine. The band strikes me as being short today. Steve, you're booming in. Brian, KN4R is booming in. And also Gary. Gary, you're not always super strong, but you're really doing the trick today. Which brings up a question, and I'm inviting comments if anybody, what their opinion is. When the band is short, does that mean that the predominance is a strong ground wave? Or does that mean that the skywave, the NBIS, near vertical incident skywave, is not canceling, in other words, it's weak and not canceling out the ground wave? Or is it a strong NBIS, near vertical incident skywave signal? So I would invite comments on that. Brian, your audio does sound great relative to some of the rigs that you have run recently. And like I say, you're booming in. You're almost damaging my receiver. But I won't hold you legally responsible. You are really, really coming in here. So I hope I'm not doing the same thing to you. But it's always nice to have full quieting, that's for sure. And let's see. I wanted to remind everybody that I still have a BC610E as an echo, into the war BC610 with a very nice RF deck. The modulator and power supply are okay, but they could stand some cleaning up, possible rewiring, but nothing is rusted or anything like that. And I have all the accessories. I have enough other ways to generate AM that I don't plan on hanging on to that. Shifting gears, I could use the GPR, what is it? The multi-Elmac 8 receiver manual. I do not have that, and I've got several 8 receivers and need to hook one up. So if anybody has a manual, we can supply contact information. If you need any help financially, we can do that too. So we are definitely interested in the I think it's a PMR 8 manual. And I guess that's about it. Just trying to stay warm. Winter has finally arrived. The geese are still here. So I guess they're still banking on free corn from my next door neighbor. On that note, Brian, take it away. KN4R in the group, KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, very good. KZ4B and the Sunday Old Friends net, substantial net. This is Brian, KN4R, back I'm sitting out here in the garage. It's about 50 degrees, and everybody sounds really good. So let's see, the wife's been decorating for Christmas. I'm still eating leftovers and eating too much. Also, the catfish in the lake around our pier are also eating too much as we, as some things age out. And I'm certainly hoping for rain here. Let's see, before the wife started decorating, I did talk her into going to seeing the movie Napoleon, and it's worth it. It's good. And I think it's reasonably historically correct too. So check it out and let me know what you think. Hold on a second, my finger's hurting here. Hold on. This thing has a butterfly switch on the handset, and it's much better with your thumb than it is with a finger. But let's see, yesterday morning got up early for the old military radio net, which runs from 5 to 7 a.m. on 3885 a.m. And the conditions were very, very interesting. We actually had a Californian station check in and stayed with us for almost an hour. So, and the band seemed to be open north and south, and also west. So that was pretty crazy. So let's see. Thanks for the audio reports and single strength. Jimmy, the rig I was on yesterday that was distorted, that's a little Yugoslavian synthesized HF rig here. It goes 2 to 12, and I'm just trying to figure it out, learn about it, and I don't have much. I've only got one microphone for it and all that, so it's going slow. But I decided not to try it out on this net today, so I'll keep working on it a little bit. So and that's enough for me. So over to you, buddy. That KWS1 sounds wonderful. WB4ARK in the group. KN4R.
KN4R, WB4ARK. Okay, Brian. Looks like my frequency is down just a little bit. I have a question for Tom. The WA4FJQ regarding your 30L1. Do you, what is the resting PA current on the 30L1, and how much approximate power does it take to drive it, and how many watts do you drive 30L1 to when you are driving it? So I would be interested to know. I have 30L1, and I'm thinking about driving it with a HT32B. So I would appreciate any information that you could give me about how you would set the 30L1 up for driving it with a linear amplifier with an amplifier I can vary the output with. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I don't have anything else to add to that. We have such a big group here. I'm going to pass it on to Mir. I would like to say that all of the stations today are coming in very strongly. I think we've got an excellent group today, and except KJ4YEV, his signal is unreadable, as I have noticed before. So with that, over to Mir, WF2U, WB4ARK.
Excellent, WB4ARK. And Annette, this is WFTU. Well, excellent signals, everybody. But the only one kind of light was K4YRK, but I copied 100%. And George is a little bit lighter here than usual, between S6 to 8, but no problems whatsoever. And by the way, I'm crystal controlled, so even if otherwise maybe I would have some FMing, as you mentioned, Steve, that some AF-67s, or I don't know if it only applies to the 68. Anyway, I have the 67, and I have two crystals. Actually, I had crystals for a couple of more transmitters that I put in, because long time ago I ordered 3885 and 3715 crystals from the last relatively inexpensive crystal manufacturer that was in California. I forgot what the name it was. It was very reasonably priced, and it burned down, and then they never renewed the operation. But they were pretty fast and pretty inexpensive for him, like single or low quantity orders. Very reasonable. So this one is crystalled up to those two, with these two crystals. And so anyway, and I'm really very much pleased with the audio quality of the PMR7. I'm driving a nice bookshelf speaker with it, and it really sounds good. Every time I go around the thrift shops in the area, I'm looking for bookshelf speakers, and on the average $5 to $10, I've been picking up for the last few years pairs of very nice bookshelf speakers. So almost every receiver that I have here has a pretty decent speaker on it. And I have a couple of powered speakers also for signal tracing, and made little probes for them, and that works out well also. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I should be operating my GRC9 also. Luckily, I have the original AC supply for it, and I also have the original issue, NATO issue, German-made amplifier for it that puts out about 80 watts on CW and 35 watts carrier on AM. With it, I used to check in while I was able to get up very early. Used to check in with it through the old military radio net Saturday morning, and that worked out pretty well. And also I used it on the CW net. It's disconnected now, but I really would like to get it on again here, because with these conditions, it should be putting out just about equivalent peak audio power on top of the carrier, just as very similar to the AF-67. Of course, with a carbon mic, but it should be pretty good to get on with it. So with that, again, I'm not going to dwell on everybody's individual signal strengths, but everybody's really coming in just great. And it's nice to have several Elmac stations on the air. WB4NKL and the group WF2U.
And WF2U. It's WB4NKL. Starting to pick up a little QSB. Copied everybody just fine though. The rain did move in. It's computer said an hour, and it's slightly less than an hour. It started raining here. Steve, I was going to comment on those Electret cartridges. I didn't realize those were capacitor type microphones. I guess I'd never really investigated it, but I wonder if they're going to lose their charge sometime in the future. Probably be way down the road before any of us have to worry about it, but you wonder if that is, how permanent that is. Another thing I was going to comment on, Brandon was working, W4GUZ was working on his Elmac Friday, and that turned out to be a bad interstage transformer, driver transformer. One side was open, was what was giving him those weird symptoms. So he had one, got it going. I sent him a 24 volt Zener diode there to get rid of the battery. So I'll send it on around. Might not make it around, but I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Chuck. N4IYQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, WB4NKL in the group, N4IYQ, and likewise, Steve, enjoyed the knowledge on the electric microphones, or the condenser microphones. And Dave, I had to kind of chuckle. You said something about a microphone. I always remember the story of you buying a D104 and getting it home, and it had a sock up where the cartridge should be. I know you said you carry a little audio amplifier to test them now when you go through the boneyard. And Brian, interested in checking in the old military net. Haven't done that in a long time, gotten up that early, but it's always interesting to get on that net and listen in. It's going to get quite cool over here. I just happened to look. It's going to be 22 Tuesday morning and down to 20 Wednesday. Quite chilly. Kind of a sinking in cold. I know it was cold when we were in Fort Wayne last weekend, and for the Ham Fest up there, boy, it sure did feel like a sinking cold up that way. And the I guess you'd call it wind turbine generators up there everywhere in Indiana. Couldn't get over how many. Interesting to see them and some of the knowledge about them. And quite a good group here. Like I say, a bunch of Elmacs. Everybody sounds good. Copying everybody, pretty much so. A little bit of QSB, but not a whole lot. So won't keep it long. Throw it on around. Coming up on the hour here before too long. On down to you, Glenn. N4AK, N4IYQ down on the lake.
Okay, K4IYQ. And the group copies a little better this go around. Conditions not too bad here. A little bit of QSB. The absolute strongest signals down here today are Dave, you're boiling in. Lee and Steve are coming in very strong. And Charlie W4MEC, very strong. John, you were a little light on that G76, but that's understandable. Copying you okay. And the other signals were very acceptable. So, nice to hear everybody. Hope everybody had a very wonderful Thanksgiving. And Steve, thanks for the review on the condenser mics. That was good. So I'm going to pass along my 7 3s on this round and just continue to listen. So, WA4EVK, Pickens, November 4, Alpha Kilo, Portable 4.
Thank you, neighbor. WA4EVK. Well, Bruce, appreciate the good words on the signal. And Steve, same there. By the way, I did enjoy the electric microphone. I had never really delved into them. That was some pretty good information. And I have installed a mod, the driver mod on this AF-68 that you sent out the other afternoon. It did tame this thing down on 80 meters. And I want to thank John for coming up with the connector I needed to get this thing on the air. I'd looked around for a while, and John, the connector was in great shape, so not a problem there. And with that, I'm going to keep it short. George, for whatever reason, I've had the strongest signal from you this afternoon I think I've ever had. So K4 GDN to take it, WA4EVK.
WA4EVK in the group, K4 GDN. And appreciate the signal report there, Boom. And we're on the valley running about 100 watts. And Tom, I think your name was WA4FJQ. I'm really interested in what you're doing with AM with the 3001. I just got one. Haven't had it on the air yet. Still checking it out. It is working. Need to get a connector so I can get away from that end plug on the end connector on the back. I need to get an adapter. But I am very interested in how you're doing that on AM, because I do consider doing that some. I'm using a homebrew 811 linear now some, with some reduced input to it, running it on AM and getting about 125 watts out. But I am very interested in things you're doing with the 30L1 and any changes you have made. I noticed there have been a bunch of changes Collins made, particularly in that bias network. And I am interested in what you're doing there and how it's working for you. And hopefully we can get in a smaller group sometime and really talk about that. I'm going to say 73 on this round, but I'm going to listen to the very end in case there are any other comments. So with that, Bruce is coming to you, and you're rather weak here. N4WD in the group, K4GDN.
Okay. K4GDN, N4WD. Oh, I heard you that time. So all the signals came up, in fact. So band is a-changing, so to speak. We won't hold it long since we've got a few more to go, and I don't know if we'll be able to survive a 73 round or not, but we might. But let's see, Brian, I think you're the one that's got the GRC9. Yeah. I turned my translator on because I figured it was going to talk Chinese, but it didn't, so I didn't need my translator. Hi. But I think that everybody else sounded good. Between Steve and Boone, I don't know which one's rattling the speaker the most. So I will say, everybody have a good evening. Hope nobody gets no snow and the rain's not too bad. And we'll see what happens here. But KR, N4WD.
N4WD, W4KR, very well, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to check out after this round also. I'll listen around the end, but then it's going to be ready pretty quick. Let's see, couple items I didn't mention before. I'm running the Ranger again today. Tuesday morning I'll have my GI7B amplifier on that it'll put out about 250 watts on AM, and that's just about ready to go. In fact, all I got to do is wire it in and run the cable connections, and that's ready to go. So that'll be on here. That's why I'm likewise curious. Tom, I was going to ask you the same questions that Buddy did, because I was thinking about maybe using my 30L1 here also. Anyway, let's see. Lee, I wonder, is December lunch going to be the regular time, or is it going to be a little later in the month? That's question of the hour. With that, good afternoon, everybody. Copied everybody fine. George, your signal came up a good bit that last transmission. You're good solid Q5 now. Copy everybody else just fine. K4JA KL. And the group, this is W4KR.
W4KR, K4JAL. Well, I think we just toggled over the witching hour here. Dave, in your talking about Tina Turner, she died last May. I never did appreciate her music, but I understand she was quite a heroine to ladies. With that, I'll bow on out. I think it's time for me to go find something to eat. K4VWD, K4JAL. Take it over, Lee.
Okay, Jimmy. K4JAL, K4VWD. Well, the temperature has dropped a little bit here. We're down to 45. And George, I'm copying you 100% up here today with that rig. And the luncheon is on the 7th. It's on the 7th. Friday, this coming Friday is December the 1st. So the first Thursday in December is the 7th. So that's when we got it. And I've got a PET scan in the morning. Got to go to the cancer treatment people. And I can't eat anything or drink anything but water until after this thing's over. So I won't get any breakfast or anything till about lunchtime. So I've had these before, no problems so far. And with that, I'm gonna keep it going and send it over to Tom. So 7-3, God bless everybody. I'm gonna listen till Dave, you shut it down, but I won't be back. So WA4FJQ in the group, K4VWD. So long.
K4VWD, WA4FJQ. Okay. Let's see, buddy, and let's see, K4GDN. We're asking about this 30L1. The current right now is just a fraction over 0.2 of an amp, 200 milliamps, and I'm pumping into it somewhere between 10 and 12 watts. And the output showing on this MFJ is somewhere around 450 or so. I'd like to back that down. I've got the AF-68 turned down as much as I can possibly turn it down. Steve put a resistor in the 6146 finals, trying to bring the power down on it. But so far the amp seems to be doing okay. Charlie, W4MEC, to follow me, is the man you need to talk to about this. He did some calculations on what the plate dissipation would be on the 811s or whatever they are in the 30L1, and he's the one that knows everything about it, not me. But so far it seems to be doing okay. But if anybody wants to talk to me more about it, my email address is on QRZ, and I'm fine with any and all emails from anybody that wants to discuss using this 30L1 for AM. Collins says in their manual not to do it. Charlie felt like the power supply just wasn't up to it, but so far, knock on wood, we've gotten away with it. But anyway, Charlie's the man you really need to talk to about the details of that. I just operate it. So at any rate, the hour's growing long here, and I'll turn it over to, let's see, who follows me? Charlie, W4MEC. This is WA4FJQ, and we'll be saying 73's but listening.
Who? What? Me? Oh, okay. WA4FJQ in the group, W4MEC. Oh, real good. And I have to give George some major kudos in the band conditions, because never, ever, ever has he been, I would call him booming in. And I'm running with my IF gain at 0 and my RF gain at 12 noon. And he's booming in here, so on this Heathkit Mohawk receiver. So let's see, yeah, Chuck, the windmills in Indiana, we started driving there 17 years ago when my son first and his wife first moved up there in Chi-Town there, and on to Waukegan. And they had a huge field there north of Indianapolis, almost to the lake. And one of the weird things about it at the time was that it was almost horizon to horizon, where it crossed I-65 going east to west. And every single obstruction light on there came on at the same instant, as far as you can see, and they went off at the same instant. And since they were LEDs, they were either on or off. There was no, like a regular incandescent bulb gets kind of, it doesn't really blast you on completely. It goes kind of on and it gets bright and it dims out. And these were just on and off, every single one of them, as far as you could see, which was really strange. And later in the trips up there, they started firing in random. Fields of them would fire together, but not all of them from horizon to horizon. So you might have 20 or 30 that all come on, but then there'll be 20 or 30 that's already off, things like that. So I guess maybe it was some kind of pilot distraction or something. I don't know. But the other thing I noticed was you could go up there during the day, and horizon to horizon there would not be one blade turning. And that's how dead calm it was. So wind power does have its limitations when the wind isn't blowing. And my rule of thumb was, how many of them does it take to fire just one arc furnace in a steel mill, which is right up the road from them, up there on the lake? Since one arc furnace can draw 65 million volt amps for one, not including lighting the rest of the plant, the other furnaces, and the towns around it. So I think there's a little bit of technology that's not quite up to the snuff there. Let's see. I wanted to comment real quick on the 30L1. Well, my rule of thumb has always been the 65 watt plate dissipation of the 811 is 4 times that, which is 260 watts, as long as you do not exceed 260 watts of, I guess, steady carrier input. You should be okay, and because you're going steady carrier plate power, and the PEP can still be handled on up. And that's the other thing, is you don't want to exceed the 1,000 watt PEP. So you're going to want to tune the amplifier up to 1,000 watts PEP output, and then back it down to where you don't exceed that total plate dissipation. Because if you tune it up for just 200 watts in and try and talk, when it kicks up to 1,000 watts on your PEPs, it's going to be detuned, and that causes issues. So anyway, that was always my rule of thumb with that. And we'll go on here, and I'll listen to the end. And John, K1VVC in the group, W4MEC.
Very good, Charlie. And I'm not going to hold it too long. I'll listen for a couple more minutes. But I've got a couple of things I've got to do. And great net today. That's all I can say. Everybody was coming through real well, and it's been very enjoyable. Really liked it. I think it was Tom, W4FJQ, asked about not hearing the net. And that's because the time changed for several months. It was 6 to 6:30. It was 6 o'clock. I guess it was 6 o'clock because of the summer conditions. So, K4YRK, K1VVC.
Yeah, K1VDC, that's K4YRK. Very good. A big group this afternoon, and it's certainly enjoyable listening to all the comments. We're still, we dropped a degree here. We're 46, and we've got drizzle here in Knoxville. And I certainly appreciate being able to check in the net. And the ham, I failed to write his call down that has the night kit T150. Man, that's a rig I would like to have another one. I had one in the past and let it get away from me. So if you ever decide to sell it, I would be interested. I started out my ham career on a T60 night kit as my novice rig, and still have that rig. So I will not be here for the 73 round if you have one, but we'll listen. And let's see, back over to K3OS, K4YRK, over.
Yeah. K4YRK, K3OS. Well, I got you that time. Signals have come up. And that is the good news. Just the drive here. Yeah, I forgot to mention, guys, I'm running the Kenwood twins today since I've got them running. I should bring up, John, nice to hear your AF-67, 68. I mean, I'm sorry, the Gonset stuff. I've got mine sitting here. I'll power it up next week, probably, now that I've got this working okay. So, want to say 73s to everybody on this round, and I'll listen out here. Very nice net. Getting real dark as we look outside the window here. I'm waiting for December 21st so I can look forward to spring. Go ahead, Al. KJ4YEV, K3OS.
K3OS in the group, KJ4YEV. Thank you, Gary. It's nice to hear this many people on the net today. I counted 21. I'm hearing everybody really well, and I was really surprised. Buddy said he was not copying me, and he is the closest one on the net to me of anybody. QLZ.com says we're only 9 miles apart. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're too close. But anyway, conditions are really good. I'm hearing everybody really well today, so I'll say 73 until next Sunday. Good hearing everybody. And let's see, back to net control, Dave, WA4LLR, go ahead.
All right, fine business, Al. KJ4YEV, WA4LLR. All righty, real good. Gary, I'm looking forward to December 21st as well. That's when the days start getting longer again. And Lee, praying that your PET scan tomorrow comes out good. I certainly pray that you have no issues. Well, we got a big group, and we've gone a pretty good while, so I'm not going to call for a 73 round today. But I've certainly enjoyed it, and everybody is sounding good up this way. So I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. I'll go ahead and say 73. God bless, and look forward to talking with you Tuesday morning, Lord willing. So thank you for your participation in this day's Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, closing out this session of the Old Friends Net and returning the frequency to normal amateur use. 73.
KJ4YEV, my mistake. I was referring to K4YRK as the station that I could not copy. Over.
WA4EVK and 4LQ.
WA4EVK, go ahead, Steve.
I just want to let you know I am working on a software update for the SDRs. ABC, it only has 3 positions now, fast, medium, and slow, and I'm adding one for Boone.
Okay. Oh, you reeled me right in on that one. I was kind of leaning forward, waiting to see what you were doing. Over.
Okay. And I think Cliff asked about the diaphragm. In an electret, that thing's made out of real thin plastic, and somehow they charge it up with electricity in the manufacturing process, and it's made to last forever. So, years, decades, whatever, centuries, and it's more likely to fail because of moisture, vibration, or something else, but it should never lose its charge. So there you go, and congratulations, Boone. That thing sounds great. N4LQ.
4LQ, WA4EVK. Well, it only took a year, but whatever. I finally got the bits and pieces together. Not going to tell till I have to now. It's really running down the road, as they say, like I wanted it to. And appreciate it. And I will see you on 1864 here after a while. Over.
Roger, Roger. Have a good one. N4LQ clear.
WA4EVK clear.
WA4EVK and 4QH over.
N4QH, WA4EVK. Evening, Lyle.
Boone, and everybody else who's left. Well, I'm telling you what, the audio on that rig is superb. Superb audio on that Rifle. Over.
Thank you, sir. I think I got a good AF-68 from Steve, and then I've got a pretty decent D104. Can't take credit for anything, but I'm real happy it turned out that way, Lyle. Over.
Well, it does sound good. It really sounds supreme. It really does. So, just want to say that. We'll catch the guys on 106 feet tonight, I reckon. WA4EVK on 4QH.